the market. So let's shift focus now to another area where there has been a lot of activity. The rupee saw a decent amount of appreciation year on year, over 10%, but the past week itself has been a couple of percentage points added on for the rupee. At this point in time, at 45, looks like it'll end the year that way, but that makes a seminal difference to IT companies who normally earn in dollars and therefore could find their earnings looking a bit weak. Rostow Ravanan, the CFO of MindTree, joins us now. Mr. Ravanan, that really is the first question. How have you read the rupee appreciation, the volatility in the last few days, and the impact on your own balance sheet?
I sort of would like to sidestep this question, to be honest, because I think it's very difficult to say with any conviction what the rupee will do. Day before yesterday, the rupee did appreciate a little bit, but it retraced itself back yesterday again. So I think we're going to see a fair amount of volatility in the rupee. At a conceptual level, for all exporters, including the IT industry, an appreciating rupee means lower profits. We will do the best that we can in terms of efficiencies, hedging, etc., to mitigate that impact. But beyond a point, it is like a fundamental force like gravity. So if it happens, then there will be a consequential impact on profits. To some extent, we just have to take it in our stride.
So are you changing or reworking your hedging program in any fashion?
Firstly, I think the rupee has been on a steadily, if you look now, the rupee is appreciated through the course of 2009. March 2009, it was approximately about 50 or 51 to the dollar, and now it is about 45, 50, somewhere in that range in the last few months. So it has been appreciating. Our own hedging strategy has been stable. We hedge approximately 50% of our revenues on a rolling 12-month basis. We haven't decreased or increased our hedging. We're sort of, trying to get more or less within that range on a continuous basis and also on a consistent basis.
Taking that point forward, then you had about $158 million worth of hedges at the end of Q3, out of which $110 million was set to expire in FY11. Could you give us an update on that?
Sure. Like I said, we are sticking to a policy of hedging 50% on a rolling 12-month basis. So on that approach, we have taken additional hedges during the course of the current quarter. Some hedges would have also got expired within the current quarter. So we are approximately about $140 million worth of hedges for 2010-11. And every month we look at like I said, on a rolling 12-month basis and keep, booking additional hedges as required.
There's also the fact that you had taken some long-term hedges in 2008, and the OCI losses in the balance sheet should reduce the appreciation of the rupee.
That is correct. In 2007, 2008, when everybody thought the rupee would appreciate, we had certain long-term contracts and we wanted to protect the margins for those contracts. So we had booked matching hedges for the actual estimated value of those contracts, and that is approximately at an average rate about 42.50 kind of a range. On that portfolio, we had booked a huge amount of mark-to-market loss for March 09. Almost half of that amount has actually reversed itself in the current year, and if the rupee continues to appreciate, more of that mark-to-market provision will get reversed in the future quarters as well.
Hedges notwithstanding, Rostow, what will a 1% appreciation of the rupee mean in terms of hit on the P&L?
A 1% change in the rupee is usually a half a percent impact to margins. Particularly, we don't have a view that this level is better than that level. Ideally, what we would like is if it reaches any level and stays stable at that level, then obviously we're able to run our plans more efficiently, decide from our cost management, efficiency, utilization, all of those perspectives, run the business at a stable level. So stability to us is more important than any particular level. So I'm not targeting either 45 or 44 or 46 or any specific number.
What about the other currencies then? How are you approaching the pound and the euro now?
Almost 80% of our revenues is dollar denominated, while only 60% of our customers are US-based entities. Many of our non-US customers also have dollar denominated contracts because their functional or budgeting currency for them in-house is dollar. So therefore almost 80% of our revenues is dollar denominated. Approximately 6 to 7% of our revenues is from India. So those are Indian rupee denominated contracts. So the remaining currencies like the British pound or the euro or Japanese yen are individually very small for us. So we currently don't hedge it. Any changes in that will also have a relatively small impact to the overall number. So we don't actively manage any hedging or any programs for those currencies.
Okay, then let's talk about your fundraising plans. What about that $100 million that was approved by the board? When can we expect either an equity or a debt raising by the company?
Sure. In effect, there's actually the board approved two aspects. One is to do an equity raising up to 15% or debt raising up to $100 million. No specific time frame for that. As of now, it's only an enabling resolution which goes to the shareholders when we have a shareholders meeting on 20th of April. Once the shareholders approve that resolution, we have the flexibility to implement it whenever we want. No specific timelines or any projects that have currently been identified for it. We just want to use the opportunity of the upcoming shareholders meeting and get this enabling resolution passed as of now.
Rostow, you had stated at the end of Q3 that you won't give guidance from FY11 onwards. That policy still stays?
I think we're sticking to that same approach. That change was not because our business is looking good or not looking good. It was not driven by that issue. It was more a philosophical decision saying that we don't want to be held prisoner to a number. We looked at both within the Indian IT industry, many of the large companies don't give guidance, and we looked at internationally as well. Many of the technology companies have gone away from this mode of giving guidance. So it was more a change in the approach to this whole question of guidance that led to the change in our decision not to give guidance from next year. We're going to stick to that, but that doesn't mean we will not communicate with investors. We will continue to give analysts and investors reasonable information explaining the health of our business, explain the trends we are seeing in the business, etc., which will help them to form their own judgment on what our growth rates are going to be, what margin levels are we going to run at, and things like that.
Well, actually, a couple of stresses in the current and coming quarters. You just said that a 1% rupee appreciation is a 50 basis point hit. And then there is wage inflation, attrition pressures. How do you see margins in FY11?
You would appreciate we have two parts to our business. The existing MindTree, I would call the organic part, which is the services business that we have, is going to be, margins are going to be affected more by growth than by anything else. We expect next year to be a reasonable growth year, so we don't expect margins to be impacted that much. We believe the impact of the wage revisions and any other operational issues like that should be taken care of by the growth that we're going to have. We also have a products business, and the first product is expected to be launched somewhere by about the end of Q2, early Q3 kind of a time frame. So for the first 2 quarters, there'll be some amount of investments we make into the products business. The numbers themselves haven't been quantified as yet because we are still in the end of our planning process. That business will obviously have a back-ended revenue because the product itself is going to be launched only by the end of this calendar year. So let's see how the product fares, and that will determine the margins for that business.
Thanks a lot, Rostow, and I hope you will be able to share some more details with us about FY11 when we meet you after the Q4 numbers.
Absolutely. We are transparency is one of the cornerstones of our entire approach to corporate governance. So there'll never be any selective disclosure. So whatever we disclose, we'll equally disclose to everybody.
All right, Rostow, thanks a lot for that. Take a break now. We will have to speak to the management of Gammon India after this break.